Hi, everyone. It's Kellie Day. For those of you who don't know me, I'm an art mentor and a mixed media painter, and I wanted to bring one of my students, Paula, in here. Paula lives in Littleton, Colorado. She is a resilience worker for a nonprofit here in Colorado and has been a Buddhist chaplain, has worked with military personnel on mental health and resilience issues, and also women in jail. So, Paula, thank you for all of your service, and thank you so much for being here today.
This is so fun. Thank you for the invite. Thank you for all that you do for other women. I feel like it's such a gift to be here. Thank you.
I wanted to bring Paula in here because you have a really unique story, Paula. You know, a lot of women that I work with have been dabbling for years and then they decide to take their art more seriously. You, however, have been helping everybody else and you decided it was time to fill your own cup and turn to your art. And you told me when we first met that you wanted to take the year and see what would happen if you really committed to your art. So tell us, like, what made you decide that it was time to turn to your art after years of service to others?
Right. Well, I'm going to start from the point of like when I started my version of dabbling. And you're right, like most of your students have like a decades long history of dabbling or had done something long ago. And that's not my story. So I was working as a chaplain in a hospital during COVID. And about 3 or 4 months after really like the brunt of COVID was hitting, my supervisor sat us all down and said, "This is just too much. And I don't know how you guys are processing it," but she had the wisdom to say, "You guys need to go home on your next 2 days off." Wasn't necessarily a weekend, but she said, "I want you to just use art. It doesn't matter what you do. I just want you to express what this experience has been." She's like, "You can write, you can color, you can draw." And I ended up doing this mixed media piece, and which
Wow.
I don't even know that I knew what mixed media was at that point.
Uh-huh.
But it changed everything for me. Like it became my place of solace. It became how I
Wow.
navigated the 2 years that I worked in the hospital, starting from the pandemic going forward. And then from there, it was like, gosh, if I really like committed to this, like what could it be? And I piddled for, from like 2020 to 2023. Like I just doodled and drawed and played with mixed media. And I mean, I definitely had success and I was seeing that there was talent there and that how much it gave me and like how much it just filled my soul. Um, and I think I said to you one time, gosh, back in like May, you said, "Well, what did it feel like to do that piece?" And I said something to the effect of, "I feel like I've always supposed to be doing this, and it's
Yes.
so natural. Like it's just coming out like it was always supposed to come out. And it
That's
was
so
just
amazing.
patiently waiting."
Because it's
Yeah.
not that way for everybody. You know, some people have a
No.
really yearning, but they don't feel natural. It feels awkward and hard and frustrating, and sometimes that's why they stop painting. So
She's in
Paula,
Colorado.
tell us about like what was the final straw that made you decide, okay, I'm gonna just jump in and give it my all and really see what happens with your art?
So at the beginning of 2024, I had said to my husband in like January of this year, I was like, "I'm really going to commit. Like I'm going to do something every week. I'm going to do something every day." And I was kind of pedaling along and doing some things, and I was like watching people's Instagram reels and doing like watching little YouTube videos, and it was fine and I was enjoying it. Um and then and the funny thing is like I have been paying attention to you for years. Like
Oh, really?
yes, like I remember like 2021, February of 2021, like you did something and I like took advantage of it. So yeah, so I've been a voyeur for years, Kelly. Um,
I love it. That's awesome.
and
Planting seeds.
planting seeds, and it's so fantastic. And I mean, the thing is, like, you're better in person than like just following you on Instagram. Like to work with you individually has just been such a
Oh,
gift.
good.
But anyway, so I thought, you know what? And the analogy I give is like everybody wants to learn a second language. And so you download the app and you take the lessons and you feel like you're making progress and you can say a sentence and you can say, "Where's the bathroom?" and "Get me a beer," and like all the important things. But if you really want to become fluent and you really want to see that transformation, you have to immerse yourself in it. And it was a huge commitment, given the fact that I didn't have necessarily an art history,
Hmm.
um, to be like, this is what I'm going to do and commit to the Transform Your Art program. But hands down, I have seen exponential progress and change and development and support in all of that. So like I don't regret 1 second of making that commitment. And I think for me the best part of that is that I made a commitment to do something. And I think I would have stayed with that commitment, but I would not be where I am right now.
So where you are right now, I just want to share with everybody, Paula's made a whole bunch of paintings. Well, let's see, we met in April, I think,
Mhm.
and she has now gotten into a Colorado gallery that is super cute, and she has started selling her paintings, built her confidence, and is now moving to creating larger paintings. So, Paula, I think the biggest thing that people out there might be wondering is, was it scary? What were the challenges like when you first decided to jump in and commit to your art? Because I think it is scary for a lot of people.
Yeah. No, it was in a lot of ways, it was terrifying. Um, the confidence piece, I think, was really a big one for me. And also for me, I didn't necessarily identify myself as an artist. Like if someone would said, "Oh, are you artistic?" I would have said no. I
Oh,
would have said, "Well, I'm creative," and I would have defined it in a whole lot of different ways, but I would not have used the word artistic. And so it was really scary to really just like jump into that space. And but it made all the difference in the world. Um, Having the confidence and the encouragement that you gave me, honestly. And it's like I have all these moments of Kellie, right? They're like these like little seeds along the way. And I remember I was doing something and we were meeting one on one, and you were like, "It's great, just sign it." And I was like, "What? Like
sign your
sign
painting.
something?"
Yeah.
I was like, it never even occurred to me, right? And that was like such a moment of, yeah, you are an artist and you have such a beautiful way of infusing that into me and into the students that you work with.
Oh,
I mean, like I've seen it in our groups where someone will express insecurities or or trepidation about like what they're doing or how they're doing it, and you just have a way of making people feel seen and making them feel like you're
oh.
on the right track, and that it makes all the difference,
We all
really.
just want to be seen, you know?
Isn't that true? It's so
And
true.
it's so
So true.
true. It's a form of love, being seen or to see somebody. And you know that well with your work. And you guys can
Absolutely.
see if you're listening what Paula does. We're trying to talk about her and she's turning it back and giving me love. That's the beauty of you, Paula.
Thank
So
you.
so how does it feel now to have put on your big girl panties, jumped in and seen what you're really capable of? I mean, how is your life different now that you are living as an artist and feeling like an artist? What's the difference from before
Oh
when
my
you were
gosh.
filling everyone else's cup?
It feels so like my eyes are watering. I'm sure it's allergies. How does it feel? It feels amazing. Like, and I say amazing, and I feel like that's such a underwhelming word for actually what it feels like, because it's not just about having made art or being able to sell a piece of art. Like as good as that feels like, and as shocked as I was that anyone would ever buy anything that I made, like
So cool.
that is like, I think a lot of people think, well, if I sold a piece, I'd feel like an artist. It's everything that goes into it. It's the courage it takes to make a mistake on the canvas and navigate it, and how that translates over into other parts of your life. And it seems so simple.
It's
Um,
cool.
like I think I was telling you one of the pieces that's behind me, I'd put some ink on it and I lifted it up, forgetting that the ink was wet, and it all started to drip. And my first response was like, "Oh my God, I ruined it."
I think you
And I was
said
like,
OF.
I did. I did. I love the F word. So I might have said the F word. And then, and then I was like, but let's just let it unfold and see what happens.
Yeah.
And, to your point about I'm really good at filling other people's cup, I think one of the biggest shifts in leaning into my art is giving myself the same compassion that I give other
Oh,
people
that's so
and the
good.
same kindness.
So good. We
And
just don't give
yeah,
ourselves that enough, do we?
nope. And one of my favorite quotes, it does come from the Dalai Lama, is that compassion is incomplete without the self.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
It
Compassion
is
is incomplete without the self, which means without giving it to yourself, right?
without self compassion, you're really not capable of practicing compassion.
Wow. Paula, do you feel like giving yourself art is giving yourself compassion?
Yes, yes. Like giving yourself permission um, to take time for yourself, like to even say to the spouse, the kids, the whatever, I'm going to go do my art for an hour or 2 hours, or for me, it usually ends up being half a day because I lose track of time. Um, like that, to prioritize your own self care, whether it's doodling in a notebook or doing a bigger piece, that is self compassion. And somehow for me, it was like I needed an excuse. Like, this is the bridge for me, right? It was like, if I would have just said, I need 2 hours to myself, that felt selfish. But to say I had a task, that
Uh-huh.
was like the bridge of being like, but it's okay to be self indulgent when it's something like, I don't know why it felt that way for me, but it was really what shifted it for me.
But how are you able to say it was a task?
Um, I think I felt because I had said, like, I'm making this commitment.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
right. Like, I'm committed to this. My husband knew I was committed. It was no different than if I would have said, I'm going to run a marathon this year.
Right. I've got to go
Like,
train. Yeah.
I got to go train. Like, I had made
Right.
this commitment to myself, and it it didn't feel self-indulgent. It was like it was a commitment I made, and I was following through on that commitment.
You said in your course feedback that this was the most transformational experience or gift you ever given yourself in your adult life was committing to your art, doing the mentoring. What would you tell others who are thinking of giving themselves the gift of art or doing the program, but they're scared or they feel like it's indulgent? Yeah.
Yeah, it is indulgent, and so and that shouldn't be the obstacle. Like, that should not be your barrier. And I think too often as women, who we are often the caregivers or we're the people who take care of others, fill other people's cup, it does feel indulgent. And that, I think, just to acknowledge that yeah, I might be chaplainizing a little bit, but like to acknowledge that, yes, I feel like this is self-indulgent and I'm going to do it anyway. Like, it's not about getting to a point where you're like, this isn't self-indulgent or this isn't scary. Absolutely, I was scared. I was like, what do you, literally, the thought was, who do you think you are doing this? And do it anyway. And
I
so,
hear
like,
that
it's not
all the
about,
time. Uh-huh.
right? Like, it's not about like getting to the point where you're not afraid to do it or getting to the point where you feel like it's, oh, this isn't self-indulgent. I deserve this, or however you want to like navigate that. It's saying all those things are true and
Uh-huh.
I'm going to do it anyway.
I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah,
I'm
sometimes
going to do it anyway.
acknowledging it is so helpful.
Yes.
Paula, what do you think is the difference between women that allow themselves to have their art and women that keep abiding by what they think are their duties and not giving themselves that gift?
Mm, I think when you ask that, what comes up for me is I wish that when people, or when women specifically, were in that place of like, well, when the kids are out of the house, or when this, or then I'll do it, if they could know what it feels like to do it now, they wouldn't wait. It, you're just kind of kicking the can down the road. And if you knew how good it would feel and it would give you so much back, you would think it was crazy to wait. I don't know if that really answers the question, but
It does because I mean, I don't know about you guys out there, but all of you artists watching this or who are going to be watching this, but what does it feel like when you're not doing your art, right? Your life isn't as sparkly and it doesn't have as much meaning. And
mhm,
then when you're doing your art, personally, I just feel so fulfilled.
Yep.
and it's like fully living. And to when you're a creative person, to not be doing your art doesn't feel like you're fully living. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You said something else. You said that when you learn to have the confidence in yourself as an artist, or when you learn to allow the paint to drip on your canvas and you're saying, oh, F, oh, fuck. And, and then you accept the mistakes anyway and just work with them. You said that that spilled over into your life. I would love to hear how that is. How does
Yeah.
seeing your art and seeing those things
Oh
affect your
my gosh.
life?
Um, and maybe there's something about like seeing a mistake on a canvas or on a board or on a watercolor paper, like it doesn't matter. And then realizing, oh gosh, like life is going on. I'm going to live a rich and vibrant life in spite of the fact that I smeared ink all over. And, I can give myself the grace when I step out of my art to take that lesson with me. And yeah, totally forgot the kid had lacrosse practice and he's standing at the door ready to go. And I was like, where are you going? What are you doing? And he's like, you're taking me to practice. And I was like, of course I am. Like, and just to give myself the grace of being like, yep, you really screwed that up. Like, you had no idea that he had practice. Like, you just completely lost it.
Yeah, there's the self-compassion again, right?
Yes, and exactly. Like, to
Yeah.
know that like our mistakes are such a small piece of who we are. And when we can practice making mistakes in such a self, sort of a beautiful area, like we're making mistakes, but at the end, it's beautiful.
At the
Like
end,
all
it's
the mistakes,
beautiful.
it is like all the mistakes I've made on canvas or on paper, they may not be worthy of being in a gallery, but they're still beautiful in their own way.
And they get
And
you to those gallery paintings, don't they?
yes, yes, I think that was a big aha for me too, is I had this like limiting belief that like anytime I sat down, if I was actually going to do something and not just like doodle, it had to be artwork, it had to be gallery worthy.
Right.
And you have done like helped me so much in realizing that like, no, it's not going to be that way. And that's okay. It's going to be imperfect, and that's okay.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with artists. Like so many of us think we've got to make something amazing or we're not worthy. But then you think about Olympic athletes, how many bad performances they had to do to get that good one, So I love that. We're so hard on ourselves, and I like to say we are perfectly imperfect. And and to try to be perfectly perfect is exhausting,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so we're here creating and fully living. And I love the piece you said about pushing yourself. I can't remember your exact words a few minutes ago. And doing getting over your fears and doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Because we really tend as humans to stay in our safe place and keep doing the same thing. And it's very uncomfortable. And I'm saying this out of experience because I have my own coach who is pushing me this year, and it's very uncomfortable to push yourself and see what you can do. But man, is it an amazing feeling when you realize, holy cow, I can actually do that. It's amazing.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
And here you are.
I cannot believe, like if someone would have said to me in January when I made this commitment of like, I'm going to do this, I didn't know it was going to be with you in April. Like I just made this commitment.
Yeah.
But if somebody would have said, and you know what, well, I hung art in the gallery August 1st. Is that right? Yeah.
Wow. Hmm.
So like if somebody would have said, and you're going to be in August 1st, I would have been like, there is no world in which that makes sense. I didn't even know what that meant. Like I didn't even like I was like I don't even know what I would do. Like how do you get into a gallery? Who do you talk to? Yeah.
So, Paula, I'm so excited for you. And Paula's continuing to work with me in my advanced program now. So I get to see her every week. Yay. Paula, tell people where they can see your art on Instagram.
Yeah, so Paula Stephens art. So it's Stevens with a PH, so PaulaStephensArt.
Okay, Paula
Instagram
Stephens
handle.
art on
Yeah,
Instagram.
yeah, yeah.
All right, you
That's where all
guys.
the goodness is.
Yes. And if, like I said, if you're watching this, leave a comment. Let us know if this inspired you, please. If you want to leave a couple questions, leave some questions. I bet Paula and I will go on there and check them. And we'd love to hear from you. And if you're out there and you're feeling like Paula was in January, where you really want to see what you can do with your art, you can reach out to me and get on the phone with me like Paula did in April. And we'll talk about your art and find out if we're a good fit to work together. And if so, I'll show you how to get there. And that link to book your call is kelliedayart.com/booking. And it's Kellie with an IE, dayart.com/booking. And, just remember, it's always going to be a little scary at first, but your art is about fully living. And when you're doing that, it spills over to everyone around you. And we're all, making the world a more beautiful place by doing what we're supposed to be doing. So, Paula, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
And
you.
stay
What
on
a
with me a
gift.
minute.
Thank you
Yes,
so much. Yes,
yes.
thank you.
All right, you guys, we're going to sign off. Great to see you today.